Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. Today we will be discussing the ethics of AI, how does AI make moral decisions, and what happens when things get wrong. My name is Trisha.
I'm Ayushi.
And I'm Connie.
When a self-driving car faces an unavoidable accident, how should it decide what to do? Imagine this, your car is driving down the road, and suddenly a child runs out in front of it. The only way to avoid hitting the child is to swerve. But what would put the car on a collision course with another vehicle? What should the AI do?
This is an example of the famous trolley problem, where you have to choose between two bad outcomes. For a person, this is difficult enough to decide, as there's no universally agreed upon right way to handle these situations. However, for AI, namely self-driving cars, this is not just a thought experiment, but a dilemma that engineers and ethicists are trying to solve.
Implementing this into code isn't easy, as AI operates on algorithms which essentially breaks down a situation into data points, speed, distance, the number of people, and so on. But moral decisions often depend on context and nuance, which are incredibly hard to identify. One approach is to program the car to minimize overall harm, even if that means sacrificing the passenger inside. But that raises some uncomfortable questions. Should the car prioritize pedestrians because there are more of them? What if it's an elderly person in the crosswalk versus a young driver in the car? How do we decide whose life is more valuable?
There is also the question of accountability. If a self-driving car makes a decision that causes harm, who's responsible? The company that made the car, the programmer who designed the algorithm, or maybe even the owner of the car who wasn't driving?
Researchers currently are working on developing a solution to these problems. Some algorithms use simulations with millions of hypothetical scenarios to see how the AI responds. They're also involving ethicists, governments, and the public to develop more transparent decision-making rules. Some companies are even experimenting with giving users the ability to set preferences, like prioritizing passenger safety over minimizing harm, but even that raises ethical questions.
Another segment of AI ethics is bias. AI should be neutral and objective. However, it can be as fair and unbiased as the data is trained out. For example, if you train an AI to recognize faces using a dataset that mostly includes light-skinned individuals, it's going to struggle to accurately identify people with darker skin tones. Studies have shown that facial recognition systems are far less accurate for women and of people of color. This has led to real-world consequences, such as wrongful arrests based on faulty facial recognition matches.
This does not just occur in facial recognition systems. Bias can show up in hiring algorithms too. There was a famous case where an Amazon AI recruiting tool favoured male candidates over female ones because it was trained on historical hiring data that reflected gender bias in the tech industry.
AI models often reinforce existing societal biases. For instance, if you train a language model on text from the internet, it might associate certain professions, like engineers, more with men, and professions like nurses, more with women. These stereotypes reinforce themselves with the AI, and then the AI perpetuates them when it generates responses or makes recommendations.
So how do we ensure there is no AI bias? One approach could be to ensure training data is diverse and representative of all groups, or to build tools that can detect and reduce bias in AI models. For example, there are algorithms designed to audit AI systems and flag biased behavior. But even with both these approaches, it's hard to eliminate bias completely, as many biases are subtle and some are deeply embedded in the way our societies operate.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave a comment in the comment section below.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you for listening. Bye.